Okay, so this is part two of part four, I think. So I was talking about Capricorn representing the bones on the skin, the teeth, our skeleton, of course. It's our form, our shape. This is why Capricorns are usually, especially the men, very, like bone structure. Well, even the women. But you see, astrologically, the sun sign is especially strong in the men. And the moon sign is especially strong in the women, and the rising sign in both. So if, for example, I'm Cancerian, but I would still take more from my moon and my rising sign, which are both mercurial, okay? And very Martian as well for a Cancerian. So Capricorn is lead, which is the heaviest metal, of course, because Capricorn is at the very deep, it's the lowest of the signs. Once you reach Capricorn, it's death, some kind of death and dissolution. And from there, you're either recycled back or you go into the higher realms. And what people have to understand is that everything in this world is material. This is why Saturn is Lord, because even the spiritual is material. Of course it is. The only difference is that we live in a very dense material world. It's very dense. And the spiritual is refined, it's finer material, but it is still material. Everything is material. That's why Saturn is the seventh, number 7. It looks like the scythe. Everything is Saturnian. You can't avoid it. Saturn is the beginning on the end. Pan is the beginning on the end. It means all and everything. So you can't avoid it. But Saturn in its lightest form is in Aquarius, and this is what we aim to do. We aim to get away through our crown and reach Aquarius, which is our crown, which is the lightest, and it's also eternal life. The fountain, because from Aquarius goes into Pisces. Aquarius is the dumping of the water. So once you reach there, you can dump the waters back into Pisces. Astrology is obviously a very important subject in all the matters I discussed, but of course you have to have a little bit of a knowledge of astrology to really understand what I'm trying to describe. It's not always easy to understand. Unfortunately, I ran out of space, on my last video, and I was going to be finishing it within a couple of minutes, so this video is not going to be very long. But, to recap, is... calendars, there's also the 13 moon calendar. Yeah, all this is fine. It works as well. But 12, everything is divided by 12. It works, There's the reason why, the problem with the 13, people reckon it, of course, it's more feminine in some ways, but you only get one day out of time. What do you do with one day out of time, At least with the calendar of 12 months plus 4 or 5 days out of time, you get 5, you get 5 days of going within, or 5 days of partying. One day is not really going to cut it, is it? So I'm still sticking to the calendar that we have now. Of course, as I said, it could start in Aries, which would make sense because Aries is the very first sign of the zodiac, is the head. Everything comes, from the mind, again from here. So of course it would make perfect sense, and I would be very happy with a calendar like that, but it would still have to be divided into 12 months and 5 days out of time for me to be happy with it. Not the 13 moon calendar at all. I do not like that calendar at all. Various reasons which I haven't got time to discuss here. But even if it's in Capricorn, it still makes sense because the return of the light is in Capricorn. That's when the days grow. Again, you see, like a calendar has to start somewhere where there is growth because it has to do with the beginning of something. So in Capricorn, there is the beginning of the light returning. In Aries, that's when the days are equal, but Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, so that would make sense. Cancer would also make sense because Cancer means birth, the mother, so that would also make sense. It wouldn't make quite as much sense in Libra, because Libra is more like a sort of like, going into the world of the dead. It's a kind of a more death than birth. But it really doesn't matter whether it's in Aries or Capricorn, because they both got horns and they both signify some kind of birth. So it really doesn't matter. But what matters is really the only thing that I do not like about the calendar, how it is at the moment, is that each month should only have 30 days. And then you get 5 or 6 days out of time, depending 4 or 5 days out of time, depending what year, if we're in a leap year or a normal year, you know. So every 4 years you're going to get a leap year, and I think you're only going to get 4 days out of time. But that makes much more sense, you know, much more sense. I mean, I could go into it. I would have to find. Oh, actually, I could possibly find the book. It's right here. But I think some of the bits are not in there anymore, and it may have disappeared. Oh no, I've still got one of those. This is my favorite. This is from the Gnostic Circle book, and with the Enneagram, everything divided equally into decanates, all of it. It's from a book that is completely out of print, which is called, oh my god, I'm going to fuck it up. No, I haven't done it right. This is from a book called The Gnostic Circle anyway, and it's a fantastic book. It's an astrological book. And I haven't read it for years, but I read it about 3 times, and it's very astrological, of course. And as being from it's more like into the Vedas and stuff, I think it's definitely flat Earth, fortunately. And this is an amazing book. I could read you some parts, but I'll probably do that another time. It's completely, you would not be able to find that book anywhere. I was very lucky it fell into my lap. It's just an amazing book. I've learned so much from that book. It's completely destroyed. All the pages are falling off. Anyway, I think that's probably enough for today. But yeah, so have a good Epiphany, because it's today, and I don't know what they say is the 6th, it's the 5th really. It's also called the King of the Feast. The Feast of the Kings, sorry, you know, back in the day they used to anoint some poor guy as the king, you know, for one day or something, and he could do anything he wanted for the day, but then he would be sacrificed at the end of the day, you know, in typical Saturnalia style. Obviously, I don't agree with any of that, but there is nothing wrong with Saturn. This is what people have to realize. Saturn, you know, in its higher aspects, Saturn is wisdom, pure ultimate wisdom. Saturn is like your best friend. Once you go into righteous living on doing the right thing, Saturn is your best friend, and you start being able to do more things with your body, on your mind, and you know, you become more free, you know.